Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the latest edition of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, and this will be fairly quick, guys. Right now, we're still on the fringe. We don't have a lot to talk about right now, but we're getting closer. The Combine will be kicking up this week, so by next week, we should definitely have some things to talk about. All right, now all I'm going to talk about in this particular episode, guys, is really quick brush up or, kind of mention the LeVeon Bell situation as well as the rumors from Martavis Bryant. And then we'll again talk about and rehash, what I talked about a few weeks ago about the free agents that I think the Steelers might go after, a couple names you want to keep an ear out for, what have you. And then after that, I'll give the quick grades, guys, on the defensive line, in this particular episode. Now, as you're seeing this, guys, it's a pre-recorded video, and for the most part, I think a lot of these might turn into this because, as you can see, it's super late tonight when you're seeing this video. Things happen, guys, and I'm not always able to do the show at the exact same time. This is not my full-time job, so obviously I have other obligations. So rather than doing that, I'd rather just have it recorded, have it be more like a podcast, and that way, regardless of the day, the time of day, I can still get the video up available for you guys, and there you have it. All right, so that's probably how we're going to do it for now, and when I can do a live stream, I will, but hopefully you'll support it just the same. And, this way I will also be able to keep track of all of you guys' comments and respond. So really quick, guys, let's go ahead and get right into it. The LeVeon Bell situation, again, I don't think anything has changed there. I saw some, beat writers out there saying that, oh, they would have thought LeVeon Bell would have been tagged by now. That's not the way the Steelers do business, and we know that. We know they're going to wait until the deadline. It's probably not going to be a deal. LeVeon Bell is probably asking for too much money in terms of long-term deal. I'll be surprised if it gets done. I definitely don't think the Steelers are going to overspend. And there you have it. They're going to tag him at roughly, 14.5, I believe it is, right around 15 million or so. And there you're going to have, that's going to be it. I don't think they let him walk, so I do believe that they're going to tag him. But if they did let him walk, I wouldn't be surprised. That lets you know that they want to do something else with that money. All right, so the deadline is coming up pretty soon. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's March the 6th or 5th, one of those days. So I would expect to hear something here very shortly. Martavis Bryant, seen some trade talks out there. It was reported that there was some rumors, and then there, guys in the Steelers office, as far as like guys like Bob Labriola, kind of shut that down and said it's not the case. I don't know if it is or it isn't, but you look at it realistically, guys, I don't think we get a whole lot from Martavis Bryant. Martavis Bryant would pretty much be a rental. You see this happen a lot in the NBA, but in the NFL, maybe not as much, even though, Bill Belichick did it with, the name slips my mind there, but you guys know what I'm talking about, the cornerback, Revis Island. So Belichick did it with Revis Island, got the Super Bowl or what have you, and then he was gone. Paid him a big amount of money. And Revis was actually making his living doing that for a couple of years, signing one-year deals or what have you. Can't be mad at that, get your money. All right? Now, I don't think Martavis Bryant is going to warrant that type of draw. He's very cheap right now, so what will other teams be willing to give up if we are in trade talks? I don't think they're going to do much better than a 5th round pick. I'm just thinking that. Because there's no guarantee that he's going to re-sign with the team that he plays with. He'd only be on a one-year basis. So I don't see that happening. I think the Steelers will keep him. Martavis Bryant did start picking up his production a little bit later on in the year. So why not keep him? Why not come into the season strong with Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant, Juju Smith-Schuster? That's a very strong 3 right there. You don't know what the situation is with Eli Rogers. I know he's rehabbing, but you got to look at it like that. But then again, you never know. The Steelers might do something in the draft. They might get a guy like they did with Juju Smith-Schuster early on or within the first 3 rounds, and hey, that might tell you the story right there. But we'll see. All right, now, as far as, free agents, guys, again, let's just rehash this really quick, man. I'll take a look at my phone here, pull out my notes. I think the Steelers definitely are going to attack inside linebacker and safety. I think they have to get one of these positions, if not 2, in free agency. The difficult thing is this. You're looking probably for a guy that can start if you're talking about inside linebacker. If you're talking about safety, perhaps you bring a guy in. You would want him to potentially be the starter, but, of course, you give Mike Mitchell a chance to battle it out, which we know what Mike Mitchell is at this point. Mike Mitchell could be a cap casualty. very well. So keep an eye on that in free agency. If they get a high-quality guy or a starter-capable guy, that could be the end of Mike Mitchell. All right, inside linebacker, you're going to definitely have to get somebody to start because, let's face it, we don't have any depth, you know, at all. We don't have any. You know, Sean Spence, I would assume he's not going to be back. You got Vince Williams, you got, you know, Tyler Metakevich, you got L.J. Fort. We saw how this thing played out as far as the run game. We're going to need 2 inside linebackers. I think you draft one, and I think you get a veteran, somebody who is ready to start. And he's going to be playing in that MAC position, you know, in our defense. And that's Ryan Shazier's position. So I don't know if there's a whole lot of guys who can fit that mold. I mean, not a whole lot of guys have the capability that a Ryan Shazier has. You know, so I don't know, but just a couple names here. You know, and I've seen a lot of Steelers fans. See, I realize, and this is not picking on anyone, and it ain't just Steelers fans, but it's fans of all teams. I realize that not a lot of people really know the ins and outs of the team and, you know, what the team likes to do, the type of personnel they like, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of people get stuck with just going with names. So I can understand why the average fan or the generic, you know, I'll just say the generic casual fan, when Brian Cushing became available, oh, you've seen so many people saying, oh, Steelers should get him, Steelers should get him. But let me ask you, what does Brian Cushing do for us on our defense as far as the way we utilize our linebackers, middle linebackers, even in coverage? I'm not saying that Brian Cushing couldn't do it. Love his demeanor, but Brian Cushing has had some issues. I mean, let's think about it. He's coming off a suspension, you know, for PED use. I happen to know Brian Cushing's uncle, actually. My wife's father was next door neighbors with Cushing's uncle before they moved down to Florida, you know, in New York, before my wife's dad moved to Florida. So, you know, I kind of know some information that I'm definitely not going to share here. But no, I don't think Brian Cushing is the answer. All right, so here's a couple of other names here. Kevin Minter. You know, keep an eye on a guy like Kevin Minter. It's funny because I actually have this guy on my team in my connected franchise playing Madden. But, you know, he's 27 years old, 5 years experience. These are the type of guys the Steelers usually go after. They're going to look for these guys that are kind of coming off of their first deal, maybe 5th year, 6th year in the league, definitely under 30. So a guy like Kevin Minter might be a guy that can come in and, you know, and help fill a void. Again, even if you get him, I don't think he's a Ryan Shazier type. So you still might be dependent on your draft pick to perhaps step in there, but you're going to need some veterans. You're going to need a guy, you know, for lack of a better example, you're going to need a guy like Vince Williams that's a veteran guy that can play a little in case whoever you draft is not capable. So Kevin Minter is a name you definitely want to keep an eye on. Avery Williams, I would say Williamson, excuse me. I would say definitely a guy like that with him being, you know, coming from Tennessee. He's, you know, he basically knows the LeBeau type of style, which is, you know, basically what Keith Butler's running. He has some, you know, wrinkles mixed in there. He's 25 years old. That's key. 25 years old, 4 years he's been in the league. That's a Steeler type of pick all day long, you know, as far as free agency. All right, so we'll take a look and see what he has to bring to the table. Of course, I haven't seen all of these guys play extensively as far as watching film and things like that. I'm just going with my gut, knowing the type of players the Steelers look for, even if they don't necessarily fit your mold. These are the type of free agents they prefer, and, you know, as far as age and what contract they're coming off of, et cetera, et cetera. Another guy I think the Steelers would look at, well, two guys that I will say, and one of you guys put me on to Preston Brown. Excuse me, I don't know much about him, but, you know, I trust you guys. A lot of you guys are saying that's a good pick. But the other Brown, Zach Brown, once again, is a free agent. He had a good year with the Washington Redskins, so I would imagine he might cost a little bit, but still, you know, within the price range for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And here's the last guy I will mention here, Anthony Hitchens. Anthony Hitchens, this guy is from the Dallas Cowboys. I am familiar with him. Ironically, I get a chance to see a lot of Cowboy games because I love watching NFC East football. It's very competitive in their division, so I watch it. You know, I definitely watch it the same way I watch the Steelers in the AFC North. So I watch the NFC East when I get a chance, and I've seen this guy come in and fill in for other guys. You know, did fairly well when he played. You know, when he filled in for guys like Sean Lee, he's held his own. And again, the key to Hitchens, excuse me, would be, again, 25 years of age, his 4th round. There you have it. These are the type of guys I think the Steelers go after. Some of the other bigger names, man, again, their age is probably not going to, you know, yield to be very attractive to the Steelers. I mean, Terrence Garvin is back out there. Chris Carter. Who else is out there? Will Compton. Will Compton. I like Will Compton. This is a guy that played for the Washington Redskins. Now, he's 28, 4th year in the league. Excuse me. Well, he's played 4 years. I like Will Compton. Again, I've watched the NFC East. Is he a Ryan Shazier? No. But I'm looking for a guy that might be able to play even in Vince Williams' spot if necessary. Not necessarily filling the Ryan Shazier spot. Because I think what we basically do is we look for 2 solid inside linebackers and let guys, you know, battle it out and see who wins out and becomes the starter. But I think you're definitely going to draft a guy that you expect to play there. All right, now quick looking at the other side of things here. If we go to the free agent safeties, particularly free safeties, again, there's not a lot of guys who jump out, you know, off of the page for me that makes me feel like, you know, it's a guy that the Steelers are going to go after. Definitely looking at the type of defense that we play and the type of safety play we're going to want. All right, guys, we're back. Sorry about that. I don't know where the camera cut off. I'm actually using a real camera. I'm not using a webcam. I'm actually using my Canon here. And I must have a setting cut on where it cuts off automatically. I can't really tell from this angle. It must cut off automatically, guys, so it stopped in the middle of what I was saying. So let me pick back up where I think I left off, and let's go from there. So I don't know where it's going to pick up from, but I was talking about Keith Tandy, guy from Tampa Bay. Don't know much about him, but I did get a chance to see him play a little bit. But listening to Alex Kozor, you know, one of the beat writers for SteelersDepot.com, he says some very interesting things about him on the Terrible podcast that I listened to recently. But the thing about it, he is a little bit older at 29, but you know, Alex Kozor felt like based off of some of the things this guy can do, he might be attractive to the Steelers. So let's keep an eye on him as well. He's not really in that age that you would like, but, you know, it could be. And here's another guy who was at the Steelers camp, not camp, but we brought him in for a visit last year, who I think is going to be probably the most attractive free agent. So he might be out of that price range. But once again, you got to think about Trey Boston. You know, Trey Boston seems to be a type of guy that would fit the mold as well. As far as, you know, a couple things that he's able to do. Got some interceptions. He had a very solid season out in San Diego. So he's probably going to cost a little bit. But, you know, these could be a couple names that the Steelers may go after. And then, of course, you know, LaMarcus Joyner as well. 27 years old. So you want to look at these type of guys. I mean, you know, kind of think about when we got Mike Mitchell. You know, that age range of 25 to 27-ish age. I can see the Steelers going after one of these guys. I think we definitely need to do it. It's a no-brainer. We're going to definitely need to go after a free agent, free safety, and inside linebacker. And don't be surprised if, you know, they might pick up a veteran running back. I've seen some people saying, what do we think about D'Angelo Williams coming back? I don't really know about that. But don't be surprised if they make a little, you know, a little noise there. Veteran backup, you know, with James Conner going down, you know, you always got to protect yourself with the injuries and things like that. The only thing else I can see, man, maybe defensive line as well. You know, Daniel McCullers, I'm sure, is not going to be back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you can see something like that. But I think the biggest thing they're going to look for is defensive coverage against the pass and the run. So that would lead to inside backer as well as free safety. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. All right, so to go ahead and finish this up, guys, I'm going to give my quick grade to the defensive line. As it stands right now, and I'm actually not going to include, well, I will include Daniel McCullers because he's currently he's in limbo. I think he'll get cut or, you know, whatever. His contract is up. But I would give them a solid B. I give them a B. I want to go B+. I almost want to go A due to expected talent. Like a guy like Cam Hayward, Stephon Tuitt, Javon Hargrave. That's a solid team right there. You know, that could be an A across the board is in terms of the ability. But I got to give them a B because they just didn't perform as great as we thought. Cam Hayward obviously had a probably season high for him with the 12 sacks, obviously. But Stephon Tuitt didn't do as much as we thought he would have done, maybe due to that injury. Javon Hargrave didn't do as much either. And then behind those guys, I mean, you got an LT Walton, Tyson Alulu, which I think was a solid signing. And then, like I said, a guy like Daniel McCullers didn't really give you much there. But I think just off of the talent that's on the team, I'll give them a B. So you might want to grab a piece or two there, maybe one other piece. To go along with the rotation. And I know I'm forgetting a couple guys as far as, D linemen, but just looking at those guys I mentioned, the Alulu, Tuitt, Hargrave, Cam Hayward, you got to give that group a B. And I know I'm forgetting some people there, but, that's my grade for the defensive line as it sits right now. So we'll see what the Steelers do in that regard. All right, so that's about all I got for you guys. Not a whole lot to talk about, but like I said, man, the combine is coming up. So now we're going to be able to start talking about some of these guys after they test. That's when I like to go in and look at, guys who I think the Steelers might want to or might be looking at in the draft in the position need. So primarily first and second round. But after I've seen these guys test, I can go look at their film. And then I can decide for myself, does the film reflect the test or vice versa? All right, so that's going to do it for this particular episode, man. I appreciate you guys for coming through and watching. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Cut your notifications on so you know when the next video is available. And I promise, guys, it will never hurt you to hit that like button. All right, until next time, here we go, Steelers. And I'll catch you guys next week. Peace.